Yesterday, we had to face a problem that we've been putting off for a very long time. Before this engine room can be painted and insulated for the hybrid electric build, the aluminum itself has to be dealt with. After 56 years, it's dirty, oxidized, and definitely not paint ready. Everything in here is going white, but only if the prep is done properly. So we had Laser Sharkz come out to show us what laser cleaning can do, and we're also weighing another option, dry ice blasting. The question is, how do you clean 56-year-old aluminum without making things worse?
All right, guys, it's January 21st, and I am still ripping stuff apart. I'm going to continue on with the generator here today. I'm hoping to get this entire generator box, get most of the generator torn down. Also yesterday, I started on the wall over here. We have a guy coming in that's going to do some, he's going to do a demonstration of laser cleaning because these walls are going to get painted just to prep for insulation. Well, I say painted. They're going to be epoxy barrier coated, and then there's going to be insulation over that. So I wanted to get a big section ready so he could do a little sample, and if it works the way that we're hoping and the time is manageable, we might just do the entire engine room that way. So cross fingers, because that would make my life infinitely easier. And yeah, that's it. So once I get this out, like I said, I'm going to just keep working backwards, tearing stuff apart as I go. Well, this is basically what we'd end up with.
Yes.
That's just, I guess, the glue that was on there.
And I'm very curious at how the laser will actually react.
Attack
to
that?
Yeah.
Hey-o. Put this around a bit.
I really don't want to have to do all this myself.
And then, just as a little, so here's the main screen here. We have, on the very front, we have 18 different settings that we can preset. We have a book that catalogs everything that we've done and what settings work for those. So that is anywhere from paint, heavy coated like epoxy paint that goes around like bullards and safety guardrails and stuff, all the way to lead paint, to rust, to soot, and we can just basically press those settings and it allows us to be able to go to them.
Does the machine actually allow you to do presets so you can have various presets?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. The main ones, it saves us a lot of time. Yeah. But then on top of it, every single setting is able to be actually manipulated. So you can even see here, the laser power is at 100, it's at max, 100 volts. The laser frequency is the 80, so that's the how many pulses come out. Yeah. I can increase the frequency, which means more pulses, yeah, and then decrease, where is it here? The scanning speed. So that's, sorry, so I got that backwards. The laser frequency is actually the power of it hitting, and the scanning speed is the pulses hitting. Okay. But then everything like that. So I put in our safety thing. We've all had a very special training course called LST. Laser safety technician, more sophisticated. Yeah. It requires a lot more training. You know, like if I decided to point this the wrong way, you know, and not know how to operate this, you could go right into your eye and start doing a lot of things that you don't want to do. Yeah. Also, there's a lot of safety with it. This is just a demonstration, but when there is consistent work going on here, you'll see that there is fumes. We have air filtration devices, okay, that are HEPA filtered, also known as air scrubbers or negative air machines. Yeah. And what they do is they are constantly venting air in from outside through a rigid ducting. Yeah. And then it's venting through a rigid ducting all of the smoke and all of the contaminated air that could be generated in here through those air scrubbers and HEPA filtered.
Perfect. Right on. Now, am I allowed to be here?
Yep.
Watching that?
So you'll see that there's always a sweet spot, and I can actually, so it's scanning length. I can manipulate the scanning length, but there is a minimum distance. Okay. So you'll see I'm not doing anything here. Now you're starting to see me come in. Now the laser's active.
Doesn't seem to have much of an issue with that glue.
Not at all. And that's why I say, I actually don't even know. You see me pulling off the sweet spot, it's got to maintain on that sweet spot. And we're actually, yeah, like as you're seeing it. So so some of it's not coming off, but I'm going to show you in just a sec here. So remember how I was telling you on the phone that this machine is only 100 volts, right? 100 watts. That when I bring in the 2000 watt pulse laser, the speed of this is going to increase by about 15-fold.
Okay.
So the only reason why I kept going over it is just to show that in the end,
It'll come off.
so because it's a residual and a contaminant that's not actually a substrate, it's not being vaporized, but the laser is taking care of it. So what I would be saying is when the laser, do we want to do another shot here? Do we want to do this kind of, are you looking at doing this or are you just looking at the surfaces?
All of it. So yeah, for sure, if we can do that, I want to see how that.
Because the contaminant is thicker here,
Yeah.
there's more smoke. This is why we have air filtration devices.
Yeah.
I keep coming off the sweet spot.
Yeah.
The sweet spot is where the action happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you can hear it.
So again, so I'm in here, because I did all of that, I would just be able to take a wire brush and pretty much just knock that off. This is where I'm saying, like, so sometimes, this is why we like doing demos too, because when we hit it to it and we see that there's too much of a contaminant and it might cause for like inefficiency, my laser tech are expensive cleaners.
Yeah.
So to laser that off and to have my guys clean it, when someone could come through with a wire brush and just give all of these edges a quick once over,
For sure.
that'll get rid of like the heavy contamination that we're seeing that's taking this thing longer to get through.
Yep.
And then anything left over that hard wire brush won't get rid of. That's pretty much what this is all is. I can guarantee if I take a wire brush, that's going to come right out and it's going to look like a clean weld like that.
Yep.
I mean, so when I'm looking at that, I'm not too sure. Maybe come have a look at that one.
Some of that's just not going to come off.
Yeah, you see, and that's what I'm wondering is, so what's happening now with my laser is it's only focusing on the surface.
Yeah.
So it's not going to get into any of these cracks.
Gotcha.
Unless we really focus it into it and really try and manipulate into that. That's where the dry ice would come in.
Yeah.
If you really needed that all done. Now, also this little like leftover bit, I'm not even too sure if it's like concrete. The laser doesn't do well with concrete, but dry ice also pops concrete up very, very quickly.
Okay.
So I'm not entirely too sure how they sealed this all in, but I would like to try this side here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see? So it makes that surface really nice,
Yeah.
but then whatever this left over is,
Yeah.
literally just pops right on off.
Yeah.
So a thought process would be also to make things efficient, would be my guys come in and they laser, and someone comes in with the wire brush afterwards. If not, my guy can do that. I don't see it taking much time after each block, just giving it a quick bristle down.
Probably something that we would do. We actually might hit it all first before you guys even come in.
Which could do it, because then but then my question would be is, okay, yeah, no, that's a possibility.
Leftover insulation that
Yeah.
is still on there.
So this is where the hopes are, is that the laser is going to reduce all of that manual labor though.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that the dry ice machine would make short work of that
Yeah.
as well. The flip side between the two is the dry ice is more expensive because there's a consumable. It requires a very large compressor, a dual action of PSI and CFM to get that sort of sublimation process.
For sure.
It's more expensive than the laser, but what I can say is that the laser would come free along with it, if that makes sense. So because you're paying the higher price of the two rental systems, you'd be paying just the dry ice, and we would bring a laser in, and we would dry ice all of the crap. Because it also freezes and becomes very easy to control. So that's kind of the thing.
What's the difference in mess between the dry ice and the laser?
So the laser, so that's exactly it. So you see that this thing's not really leaving any mess except for what you're having to potentially scrape off before or after. That is the only residual, and how you deal with that would be how it would aerosolize. The dry ice, the thing I love about dry ice, which is why everybody goes with it, is because it hits at minus 93 degrees Celsius, everything just freezes. It becomes rock solid. So if it actually is, when it comes off, it freezes and pretty much just drops down. So dry ice is a little bit more expensive. It is $325 an hour, but that includes the machine and the technician. But it's only because of the machine, and they added. So then there's obviously the consumable of the dry ice. Dry ice only lasts for 10 days when it's purchased. And but our machine collects all of the data of how much ice is used, and we only charge based on that, and it's at a per pound cost. I can throw some numbers together. What I can say is, if you wanted us to come in here and one-stop shop this, that we would go with the dry ice. And that we would have the laser with us at the same time, and we would utilize the laser whenever we needed it and the dry ice whenever we would need it. The other side is basically, if you wanted to do some manual labor to it, it can get very tedious, and I don't know if you have the labor component to it. We can also offer like general laborers if that was ever an option. And those general laborers would have the sense knowing that they're prepping the surface for a laser.
Well, we do most everything ourselves.
That's what I assume.
We'll probably end up doing a lot of that, but definitely want to get a quote either way. How is that for like this box here where it's got the paint on it?
This part right here? I mean, I can probably burn right into it if it was the case. Like if you want that paint to come right off.
Oh yeah, everything is going to be coming off in here. It's all going to be bare.
So it is going to get a little smoky.
Yeah, no worries.
I would normally have we have respirators and everything.
Yeah, of course.
Now I'm just going to get right to the surface so I can show you we can.
Yeah, because as you said, your more powerful laser will be able to take that down quicker.
So,
oh yeah,
that's the surface right there.
Yeah.
So that did it in about 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Let's give it 20 seconds at most. So my machine will do it in probably 5 seconds, if not 3 seconds. Not to mention also the laser. So I would do more of that for the videos, but yeah, it's a little bit dusty and I don't have the AFDs in here and stuff.
For sure.
It's usually what happens is if it does get too smoky with the thing and we're in an enclosed place, that's why I asked for ventilation before we started. But yeah, so I'm not gonna do any more of that just for our own safety's sake. But this, you can see that we do bring it right down to the metal. And that it does stay profiled actually, so we're not smoothing that surface out so that you can re-adhere paint back to it. The laser, again though, just to sort of explain, this is as wide as the laser setting as we can get. We'll just do another little shot of the heavy contam. Yeah, you see, when that glue is really glued on, it comes right off with the laser, but if it's not and it's a little bit loose, it just stays on the surface, which just requires, like look how fast that is too. And then everything left over. I mean,
yeah, pretty awesome.
Pretty neat. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's the whole thing is my team, I always say to most people that my team is very expensive cleaners, but when it's something as easy as that, they can almost literally do it with their hand afterwards with a glove.
Yeah.
And then throw the glove out afterwards. I don't even think a wire brush will be needed for any of that.
No.
The residual will come down. Whoops. But we do have HEPA vacuums. That's what we recommend. If not, once again, my team is an expensive cleaning crew. I don't know if you want us to try and maybe just put some poly around here. My team is an abatement team though,
Honestly,
to collect stuff for...
I wouldn't worry too much about it because we're going to have to get in here. We're probably only going to go down to maybe a foot below the chine here.
Copy.
Then we're just going to be cleaning the rest of the bilge out.
Yep.
So honestly, if it goes into the bilge, we'll just end up pulling it out of there and
Yeah.
cleaning up after.
Did you want me to do just a little surface here so we can see the result?
Sure, if you don't mind.
Yep. And I think that's just caulking. Yep.
It is, yeah. Oh,
Pretty neat.
it is.
Pretty neat.
Very much so.
And that's pretty much it there. Head back.
Thank you very much.
Power it down. Yeah, not a problem.
Yes, we are 100% interested in getting an estimate on that.
Certainly. So now my next questions are just going to quickly be, so how much are we looking at, just so that I can get you a full estimate?
So you are looking at it here. So from the top up there, basically down to not too much farther than where you went with that, all the way from this wall, all the way to the back wall on each side of the boat.
All the way to the back side, just to that wall where the drywall is?
Yep.
And then on this side as well.
You betcha.
So my only other question then would be clearances. Like, are some of these, like you had said, like this thing's going to kind of be gutted out because...
happening in 3 to 4 weeks.
Copy.
And everything's going to be gone.
Okay, perfect.
Literally everything on the walls is going to be ripped out. All the insulation's going to be pulled out.
There's going to be literally no access problems then.
Nope, zero. You'll have all the access you need. All right, so we've had the laser cleaning guy come out and do a couple of test sections here. Very cool, very much like how rapidly it went. However, quote-wise, it's pretty expensive. We're probably looking at around $4,000 for this to happen for the whole engine room, which is a lot of money. That money can be spent other places. So are we gonna do it? I don't know, but reality has a vote and may not be going ahead with that.
Before we end this video, we want to say a genuine thank you. The names you're seeing here are the people who chose to step in and stand behind this project. This hybrid electric build is happening in real time, and it's only possible because of the support from our online crew and the people on the wall of power. Every name here represents someone who believes in us doing this properly and sharing the whole process. No shortcuts and no glossing over the hard parts. If you've been watching and getting value out of these videos, there's a place for you too. Your name could be here in the next video, and you'd be a part of Tangaroa's story going forward. Some supporters even have their names permanently mounted in the engine room on the wall of power. And if supporting financially isn't possible right now, subscribing, watching, and leaving a comment helps more than you might think. You can find all the details on our website. Thanks for being here, and thanks for helping make this build possible.